Hello, this is Mrs. Jacobs, and I will be showing you today GOMath Chapter 2 Review for the Test. Okay, so for questions 1, 2, and 3, we have to use the table below. The table below is showing us the prices for trees. And I noticed there are 6 trees. The ivory silk lilac, the white pine, bur oak, hazelnut, red maple, and birch. Okay, and what I notice about this table is in the prices. So we have the name of the tree. The price is regular price. A regular price is you're not getting any deals, you're not getting any discounted prices. This is the price you're going to pay. And then we have a column that says price for 3 or more. Now, price for 3 or more means that if you buy 3 or more of that type of tree, they give you a discounted price. So let's look at the ivory silk lilac. The regular price is $25. So if you buy 1 ivory silk lilac, you have to pay $25 each. If you buy 2 ivory silk lilacs, you still have to pay $25 each. However, if you decide to buy 3 ivory silk lilacs, you no longer pay $25 each. You get a discounted price and you pay $22 each. It's still each. Okay? So that's how we have to read this table. So we really have to be careful when answering these questions that we pay attention to how many we're actually buying. And we have to decide if we're going to be paying the regular price or the price for 3 or more. Okay, that's very important here. So now we're going to go to question number 1. What is the cost of 3 bur oak trees? Show your work. Okay, so if I go to the table, I'm looking for bur oak trees. Bur oak trees, the regular price is $35. So if I buy 1 of them, or if I buy 2 of them, I still have to pay $35. But if I buy 3 or more, I get the price of $32 each. So I noticed that in question 1, I need to find out the cost of 3 bur oak trees. Okay, so I'm not going to use the $35 price. I'm going to use the $32 price. Why? Because I am buying 3 or more. So I will do $32 times 3, since I'm buying 3 of them. Okay, of course, when it says show your work, you can use the strategies that are taught in class. You could use the distributive property, area model, or traditional method. So I'm going to use the traditional method. Remember, when you're working with money, we do need to see the dollar signs. Okay, so here I go showing my work. So the cost of 3 bur oak trees will be $96. Okay, so I just took the table and put it on this next slide so we could keep referring to it. So this is the same table we're working with, but now we're just moving to question number 2. Okay, question number 2. Mr. Tan buys 4 white pine trees and 5 birch trees. What is the cost of the trees? Show your work and explain how you found the answer. Okay, so first I have to see what trees are being bought and at what prices. So I'm going to do organized, labeled work to help me get through this problem. So first I see Mr. Tan is buying 4 white pine trees. So I'm going to figure out the cost for the 4 white pine trees. Now I go to my table and I go to white pine. Now when I go across, I see the regular price is $40. So if I was buying 1 or 2, I would pay $40 each. But if I buy 3 or more, I get $37 each. So since Mr. Tan is buying 4, he gets the discounted price of $37. So I will do $37 times 4 since he's buying 4 of them. $37. So the total cost of the 4 pine trees will be $148. Okay, but I noticed that he's also buying a different type of tree. He's also buying 5 birch trees. So now I need to go find birch trees on the table and notice 5. So he's buying 3 or more. So he's going to get that discounted price as well. So the birch trees, he's buying 5 of them, but they cost $8 each. Okay, so the 5 birch trees will cost $40. Okay, so it says, what is the cost of the trees? The trees are both the white pine and the birch trees. So again, I have to take the 2 costs, the total cost, of course, and add them together. Oops, sorry. Always check work. So the cost of the trees will be $188. Okay, and then you'll be asked to explain how you found the answer. So please, when explaining, you could just follow and explain the steps that you did to solve it. Okay? All right. Now for question number 3, still prices for the trees. And now it says Rudy will buy 3 ivory silk lilac trees or 2 bur oak trees. He wants to buy the trees that cost less. What trees will he buy? Okay, so basically we're being asked 2 questions here. What trees will he buy and how much will he save? So we can only answer one question at a time. So first, what trees will he buy? So obviously he's looking for the better deal, the trees that cost the less money. So I have to figure out, is the 3 ivory silk lilac trees, I have to figure out how much those are. I have to figure out how much 2 bur oak trees are. And whichever one is the cheapest, the lowest amount of money, obviously that's the one that Rudy is going to buy. So I need to do the work first, okay, and figure out what tree he's going to buy, either the ivory silk lilac or the bur oak. Then I need to find out how much he will save. And we'll get to that question after we do the work. 3 ivory silk lilac, I'm buying 3 of them. So it's $22 each. So I'm going to do $22 times 3. So far, the ivory silk lilac is going to cost $66. Now I have to see 2 bur oak trees. Now let's be careful. Next to bur oak, the regular price is $35. If you're buying 3 or more, it's $32. However, we're only buying 2, so we don't get the discounted price. We have to pay the regular price of $35 each. Okay, so I will do $35 times 2. So the 2 bur oak trees cost $70. So let's go back and look at the first question. What trees will he buy? So Rudy will buy the trees that cost the least. And that is, looking at the 2 prices, the total cost, it's either $66 or $70. So the better deal is the ivory silk for $66. So Rudy will buy the 3 ivory silk lilacs. Rudy will buy three ivory silk lilacs. Now, the second part of the question says, how much will he save? So basically, it's asking us the difference between the price of the bur oak and the ivory silk. So how much are we actually saving by buying the ivory silk ones than the bur oak? And in order to do that, we have to take the 2 total costs and subtract them to actually see how much we're saving. If we have 0, we can't take 6 away. So I go to the 7, make it a 6. My 0 now becomes a 10. So Rudy will save $4 by buying the ivory silk lilac compared to the bur oak trees. Okay, so Rudy will save $4. Okay, so using the table is now over. So question 4 says for numbers 4a through 4d, select true or false for each equation. So I'm not really going to show this one because what we have to do is 4a. You need to multiply 7 times 194. You have to do it and show the work. And does the product turn out to be 1,338? If it is, then you're going to pick true. If it doesn't equal 1,338, you will choose false. So that's how 4a through 4d is done. You actually have to do the computation for each one and see if your product matches the product for each of these examples. Remember, if it is correct and it matches, you choose true. If your product is different than what's on here, you have to choose false. Okay. All right, number 5, part A. So this is 2 parts. Draw a line to match each section in the model to the partial product it represents. So here we have a model, okay? It's the area model. So we have to draw a line to match each section. So if you notice at the bottom, we have 3 times 6, 3 times 100, 3 times 40. We have to draw a line, like connect the dots, to its right section. So I like to do work, right? So we make sure we're arriving at correct answers, right? I'm just going to do all the multiplication inside that area model just to make sure so that I could do my matching properly. Okay, so watch this. So after I have done all the work inside the area model, now it makes it easier to match. So 3 times 6. 3 times 6 is over here. Okay, 3 times 100. 3 times 40. And now I have a final answer for part A. Okay. Part B, we're just asking you to find what 3 times 146 is. Show your work and explain. Now here, you can do the area model and use the area model to help you. You can do traditional method. You could do distributive property. They just want you to find out what the product is. So basically, if the area model is already set up for us and we already took the time to do the work up above, we could just copy that area model into part B and we can add up all the products of each part, right? So each section has their own product. Okay, so for number 6, for numbers 6a through 6c, write an equation or comparison sentence using the numbers on the tiles. So you will notice that we have tiles over here. These are the tiles, okay? And on these tiles, they have numbers. Those are the numbers that we're going to use to put into the empty boxes, okay? So looking at 6A, that's a bar model, but I noticed the bracket is around 32. So I also notice that 4 is being represented 8 times, right? So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 4s here. So since it's 8 bars or 8 4s, the 8 goes first. 8 times as many as 4 is 32. So I use this 8, I use the 4, and I use the 32. Okay? 6B. I notice I see an 8, and how many times do I see it? So I see 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I see 6 bars, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 times 8 is 48. So I used an 8, a 6, and a 48. Okay? So now for C, 9 times 3 equals 27. They want you to take that equation and write a comparison sentence, but they already started it for us. Okay? So we're going to do 9 times as many as 3 is 27. And now I have used all the numbers on the tiles. Okay? All right, 7. Multiply 7 times 43. For 7A through 7D, select true or false for each statement. Okay? Well, first of all, question 7 starts with multiply 7 times 43. So I really should do that work. So I'm going to do 43 times 7, and I am going to do it 2 ways. Okay? So I'll do it traditional, and I'll do the area model. Okay? So 43 times 7. 7 times 3 is 21. 7 times 4 is 28. Plus 2, 29, 30. So I have 301. Okay? I'm going to just show it using the area model. My single digit 7 here. 43 again is put into expanded form, which is 40 plus 3. 7 times 40, 280. 7 times 3, 21. Now I add the partial products. This is what we consider partial products. Because this is one part, this is a second part, okay? So when I add them together, that's when I will get my final product. Okay, and always make sure that if you're showing more than one way, that they both match. The products come out to the same answer. Okay, so 7A. A reasonable estimate of the product is 280. All right, well, that is asking me to estimate the product, okay? So what I really need to do is go back to my original equation. So 43 times 7, okay, is estimated. I would do 43 is 40. So really, I am doing 40 times 7, which is 280. So, is a reasonable estimate of the product 280? Yes, after I estimated the product, remember, you estimate first, then multiply, and the answer is true. 7B, using partial products, the products are 21 and 28. Well, let's look at our area model. We do have the partial products. Our partial products are 280 and 21. They say 21, yeah, that matches. That's one of my partial products. But the other one is not 28. The other partial product is 280. So this part I agree with. This I don't. So part of it is wrong. So it has to be false. 7C, using regrouping. So here you have to do the traditional method to figure this one out, okay? Using regrouping, 21 ones are regrouped as 110 and 2 ones. Well, we all know that the number 21, the 2 is in the tens place and the 1 is in the ones place. So it would be 2 tens. It would be 2 tens and 1 1. Sounds a little funny, but 1 1. So that does not match. So again, this is going to be false. Okay, and then 7D is a straight out. What is the product? Is the product 301? And looking at our work, we see yes, 301, 301. So this is true. Number 8. It cost 9,328 points to build each apartment building in the computer game Big City Building. What is the cost to build 5 apartment buildings? Show your work. So always going back to the problem, I have to make sense of it. Okay, so they would like us to find out how much it will cost for 5 apartment buildings. Well, we need to know how much it costs for 1. And in the question, it says it costs 9,328 points to build each apartment building. Each apartment building means for every single one you build, it's an additional 9,328 points. So some of us might say, oh, I will just add 9,328 5 times, okay? But remember, multiplication will get us there quicker and maybe a little more accurate, okay? So we're going to do 9,328 times 5. 5 times 8 is 40. I put the 0, regroup the 4. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 4 is 14. Put the 4, regroup the 1. 5 times 3 is 15. Add 1 is 16. Put the 6, regroup the 1. 5 times 9 is 45. Plus 1, 46. So since there's no other place to regroup, I bring the 46 down into the product. Make sure we have our comma, ones, tens, hundreds, thousands. Okay, so complete sentence. It will cost 46,640 points, since we're working with points, to build 5 apartment buildings. Number 9 is choosing numbers from these rectangles. All right, so first of all, it says multiply 7 times 462 using place value and expanded form. Okay, like I said in class, distributive property and expanded form are related. Okay, so this might look like distributive property, which is fine. So we're going to start by doing the distributive property, solving it, doing the work. So, and then we can go pick choices. So let's solve 7 times 462 using the distributive property. Okay, and this could be a review for some of you. Okay, so first I'm going to write 7 times 462. . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . Now for the distributive property, we need to put the larger factor because number 7, that's already in expanded form. You can't do anything with it, it's just 7. But the 462, we could break apart into its expanded form. So if I do that, it will be 7 times 400 plus 60 plus 2. Now, remember, distributive property comes from the word distribute. So what are we distributing? We actually are distributing the 7 to everything that's inside the parentheses. So I will distribute the 7 to the 400, the 7 to the 60, the 7 to the 2. How? I will do 7 times 400. So I'm going to write 7 times 400. That 0 was a little droopy there. Then I go back and I'm going to do 7 times 60. Sorry for the mess. Smartboard is acting up. Plus, then of course I'm going to do 7 times 2. All right. So now I don't need to go any further and solve it because that's not what it's asking me to do. I have to choose the number from the box to complete the expression. So I go to my work. It says 7 times 400. So I'm choosing 400. My next step is to do 7 times 60. So 7 times 60. And my last step, 7 times 2. Find 7 times 2. And you are done answering number 9. Okay. Number 10. Okay. For numbers 10A to 10B, use place value to find the product. So this lesson is the basic facts and then adding the pattern of zeros, okay, which we have covered. So we're just going to solve these really quickly, okay? So equals. So I know 3 times 6 is 18. And I notice that the factors, this has no zeros, a 3. Over here, there's 2 zeros. So I'm going to take those 2 zeros over into my product, and the answer is 1,800. 10B. Always do the basic fact first, then add your zeros, okay? And I'll show you why, because this one, some children mess up on because they don't do the basic fact first. Okay, so the basic fact is 5 times 4. 5 times 4 equals 20. Then I add these 2 zeros. So my answer is 2,000. Okay. Number 11. Liam has 3 boxes of baseball cards with 50 cards in each box. He also has 5 boxes with 40 basketball cards in each box. If Liam goes to the store and buys 50 more baseball cards, how many baseball and basketball cards does Liam have? Show your work. So remember, boys and girls, when we're showing our work, we should be showing it step by step, right? We needed to make a plan, all right? Well, I notice in the question, it says, how many baseball and basketball cards does Liam have? So I need to figure that out. But do I know how many baseball cards he has? Not yet. He has a bunch of boxes and cards in each box. How about the basketball cards? He has boxes filled with basketball cards in each box. So we really need to find out how many baseball cards there are in the 3 boxes in total, and how many basketball cards does he have total in the 5 boxes. Okay, so I'm going to show my work step by step explaining what I would do. So step 1 is to find the total number of baseball cards, okay, in the 3 boxes. So I will do, for step 1, 50 times 3, okay? 150. So he has a total of 150 baseball cards. Okay? So that takes care of this sentence right here. Okay? So now he has 5 boxes with 40 basketball cards in each box. So that will be my step 2. Total, I'm going to abbreviate, BB. Okay. So to figure that out, I'm going to do 5 times 40 or 40 times 5. So he has 200 basketball cards. Okay. Then it says that he goes to the store and buys 50 more. Here's the thing. I don't know how many baseball and basketball cards we have together. So before he goes and buys, I need to know how many baseball and basketball cards do we have so far. So my step 3, okay, step 3 is to add 300. Ooh, sorry, the smartboard is not working. All right, go back. We're adding 200 and 150. So that's 350. Okay, so I added the 2. And I'm sorry, I'm going to squeeze in step 4 over here, which is now I'm showing that he goes to the store and buys another 50 more baseball cards. Okay, so I know that the total so far is 350 for both. But now he goes and buys another 50 more baseball cards. I have to show that in my last step. So the answer to the question, Liam has 400 baseball and basketball cards. Okay. All right, number 12, again, is the distributive property or expanded form. And again, we have those tiles with the numbers on them. So those are the ones that we're going to use. And in here, you might not use all of these numbers because there's only 3 blank spaces. So let's read the question. There is a book sale at the library. The price for each book is $4. Which expression can be used to show how much money the library will make if it sells 289 books? Use the numbers on the tiles to complete your answer. Okay, so first, we really have to know that one book is $4, okay? And the library is possibly selling 289 of them. So the expression would be $4 times 289 books. Okay? Again, with expanded form or distributive property, the whole point is to break down the 289 into expanded form so then we can get partial products. So all of this ties in together. So we'll do 4 times, in parentheses, here's my expanded form, 200 plus 80 plus 9, okay? And then again, we have to just start distributing, okay? So it will be 4 times 200, right? 4 times 200 plus 4 times 80. So plus 4 times 80 plus 4 times 9. And again, this is an expression. It doesn't have, we're not solving, okay? So we just want to know the 3 empty blanks, what we're filling them in. So when you do your work first, it's easier to go back and fill in the answers. So I'm going to play the matching game. So the first parentheses is 4 times blank. Well, my work shows 200. So that's the tile I'm going to use. Then my next parentheses, I have 4 times 80. So that's the other number I'm going to use. And my last partial product in my expression, I have 4 times 9. So I will use the tile that has the number 9 on it. And that is how we answer number 12. 13. Find 8 times 397. So I'm not going to really show this one. You can multiply 397 times 8 using distributive property, area model, traditional method. Remember, choose one of those strategies that work for you, where you are more accurate, that you feel more comfortable using, okay? All right, here we have a multi-step word problem. We have a part A and a part B, okay? So a clown bought 6 bags of round balloons with 24 balloons in each bag. The clown also bought 3 bags of long balloons with 36 balloons in each bag. Part A, how many more long balloons than round balloons did the clown buy? Show your work. All right, boys and girls, so it's asking us how many more of one balloon did the clown buy than the other. So I know that in my last step, many more, is to find the difference between the two. So I know that my last step, I will be subtracting the long balloons, take away the round balloons. Well, thing is we don't know how many long balloons in total the clown bought, and we don't know the total of how many round balloons the clown bought. So this will set us up with our plan. So my plan is, for step 1, is to find the total number of round balloons. Step 2 would be to find out the total long balloons, okay? And then my step 3, I will be subtracting those products to find how many more long he bought than the round. Okay, so here I go, showing my work. So for step 2, I will be doing 36 times 3. Okay, so far I see that I have 144 round balloons. And I have 108 long balloons. And part A is asking me how many more. So again, like I said, we're going to subtract to find the difference. Now remember, when you're subtracting, the larger number has to go on top, and that should be we're going to do 144 take away 108. I'm just checking my work before I move further. So just looking, 24 times 6. 36 times 3. Let's see. All right, so step 3. Okay. Subtract the totals, right? 144, take away 108. 4. If I have 4, I can't take 8 away. So I go to the 4 next door, cross it out, make it a 3. This now becomes 14. 14 take away 8 is 6. 3 take away 0 is 3. So 36. So there's 36 more long. And I think in this question is a typo. It really should say how many more round balloons than long, okay? But we're just going to follow with the wording for now, okay? Part B. The clown also bought 5 bags of heart-shaped balloons with 14 balloons in each bag. When the clown blew up all the round and the long and the heart-shaped balloons, 23 balloons burst. Uh-oh. How many blown up balloons were left? Explain your answer. All right, well, first, we know that we have a total of the round from part A. We have a total of the long from part A, so we don't need to do that. The new information here is now he has heart-shaped balloons. So I would have to do 14 times 5, okay? Okay. Okay, so there's 70 heart-shaped balloons, okay? So now he's saying that when he blew up all of them. Now, here's the thing. I don't know how many balloons I have in all. So we need to figure that out. So I know I have 144 round, 108 long, and now 70 heart-shaped. I have to add those all together. And then all of a sudden, 23 burst. So burst means they're not blown up anymore. So I would have to take away the 23. So let's do the steps. I might have to show my work because there's no room on this page, and I'm so sorry. I might have to continue the work up at the top of the page, so just follow me, okay? So I'm going to take the 144 round, the 108 long, and the 70 heart, and I'm going to add them together so I can get a total of all the balloons, okay? 8 and 4 is 12. 4 and 1 is 5. 5 and 7, 12. 1, 2, 3. So I do have a total of 322 balloons, okay? And then all of a sudden, 23 burst. So out of my 322 balloons that the clown has, all of a sudden 23 go away. So I have to do 322, and I have to subtract the 23 balloons. Okay, so if I have 2, I can't take 3 away. 12 take away 3 is 9. Now if I have 1, I can't take 2 away, so I go to the 3. And remember, you add 10 to that. This is going to become 11. 11 take away 2 is 9. 2 take away 0 is 2. So this is our final answer, okay? So how many blown up balloons were left? There were 299 balloons blown up, okay, in the end, right? Don't worry, we're not going to ask you to explain this one, all right? So I know it says explain your answer, but on your test, you will not have to do that, okay? All right, 15. Hector planted 185 flowers in 2 days. There were 5 volunteers, including Hector, who each planted about the same number of flowers. About how many flowers did they plant? So before I go and set up an equation, I need to notice that it says about how many. And I know that the word about means they want an estimated amount. They don't want the exact. So let's talk about this problem. So it says Hector planted 185 flowers in 2 days. There were 5 volunteers, including Hector. What does that mean? Well, there were 5 people, but Hector was one of the 5. So if Hector could do 185 flowers, they're saying that all the other volunteers can also do 185 flowers. So really, it's this. 185 times 5. The 2 days is just telling you how long they took to do it. The 2 is not playing a part into this problem, okay? So again, I'm not actually going to do 185 times 5. I'm going to do the estimated product. So 185 rounded to the nearest 100 is 200. And it is now 200 times 5. Basic facts. 2 times 5. 2 times 5, 10. Now I can carry over my zeros, which I have 2. Answer is 1,000. So I go into this box here off to the side and choose 1,000. 16. Jay and Blair went fishing. Together they caught 27 fish. Jay caught 2 times as many fish as Blair. How many fish did Jay and Blair each catch? Write an equation and solve. Explain your work. Okay. Well, boys and girls, I'm going to show you drawing a bar model because many of us are still struggling with that. So first I asked myself what's being compared, and I could see that they're comparing how many fish Jay caught and Blair. So I'm going to set up my model just with who and what's being compared. So I have Jay's fish and Blair's. Okay. Now that I have done that, I have to go to the sentence, and this is very important, that helps me to draw the bars. And the sentence that helps you to draw the bars is Jay caught 2 times as many fish as Blair. So now I know that Jay gets the 2 bars. So now I will draw 2 bars next to Jay's name. And Blair, of course, just gets 1 bar. So I have used this sentence to help me draw the bars. Now I'm done with that sentence. I don't need it anymore. So I go and look, what other information do I need to add to my bar model? And I notice that it says together they caught 27 fish. So together they means Jay and Blair. So together they caught 27. So to represent that total on my bar model, I have to draw my bracket along the side because it's for both of them together. And together they caught 27. Okay, so now I have a whole bunch of empty bars and one number, 27. So again, we use a variable, which is a letter that stands for the unknown. So I'm going to use the letter F since we're working with fish. Next, since the bracket is for Jay and Blair's fish, I have to count all the F's that are within that bracket. So I count 1, 2, 3. So it becomes 3 times n equals 27. N equals 9. So we're not done. You have to go back and make, oops, sorry, it's not n. My bad. It's F. Sorry. I'm so used to n in class. F equals 9. So we go back and make every F 9. And we're still not done because now we have to look at our model and say, how many fish did Jay catch? Well, I see 9 and 9, right? So that's really 9 times 2. And 9 times 2 for Jay equals 18. So I put his total and I circle it. So I know that that's Jay's total number of fish that he caught, which is 18. Then I go to Blair, and she only has 1 9. So she's 9 times 1. And she has a total of 9. And the reason why I'm circling these two numbers is if you add 18 and 9 together, it should equal 27. So this is how your models should look. And then we have to answer the question that's being asked. So how many fish did Jay and Blair each catch? So you have to be very careful. They want a sentence for Jay, how many fish he caught, and another sentence saying how many fish Blair caught. So make sure we do that. So Jay caught 18 fish. Blair caught 9 fish. Okay. Again, on the test, we're not going to ask you to explain. Okay. Just showing your work and writing the final sentences will be enough for this. 17. Oh, I notice a bar model, but it's already drawn. So that's awesome. Okay. So at the pet fair, Darlene's dog weighed 5 times as much as Leah's dog. Together, the dogs weighed 84 pounds. How much did each dog weigh? Complete the bar model, write an equation, and solve. Okay, so we see those empty lines. We have to think about what's being compared. And we're comparing dog's weight, Darlene's dog and Leah's dog. Okay, so again, who gets the 5 bars? And we have to go back in and it says, and we have to reread that sentence that tells you times as much or times as many as. And I noticed that it says Darlene's dog weighed 5 times as much as Leah's dog. So the 5 bars have to go next to Darlene's dog. So I'm going to go write that, Darlene's dog. And the other one has to be Leah's dog. Okay. So now I do know something that wasn't used yet. Together, the dogs weighed 84 pounds. So I know the 84 goes here. All right. And since they didn't give me a variable or letter to use, we can use one of your, whatever letter you choose. Okay. So I'm going to use N since I keep messing that up, right? So used to that. So N, 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 again, since the bracket is around both Darlene's dog's weight and Leah's dog, we are going to count up all the N's we see all together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it becomes 6 times N equals 84. Okay? And you're going to say, oh no, I don't know how to do 6 times something give me 84. Okay, well, we do know, and we should know our 6 times tables, okay? And we do know that 6 times 10, 60. We're not there yet. We have to get up to 84. 6 times 11 is 66. 6 times 12 is 72. We're getting closer. 6 times 13, you're going to say, I don't know. Well, add another 6 to 72. So 72 and 6 more is 78. And 6 times 14, again, when you are multiplying by 6, you're going to keep on counting by 6. So if I start off at 78, I add another 6, voila, I get 84. So I know that N equals 14. All right? So now I have to make every N equal to 14. Okay, so now the question still says how much did each dog weigh? So they want 2 answers for this. They want how much does Darlene's dog's weigh, how much does Leah's dog weigh? So quickly we can see Leah's dog, it says 14 there, right? So Leah's dog is 14 pounds, okay? But now we have to figure out how much Darlene's dog weighs. So how many 14s do we see? We see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So she's 14 times 5. Now, we don't guess. We go off to the side and we're going to figure out what 14 times 5 is. Okay, so she is 14 times 5, which is 70. Okay, and again, Leah's dog, remember, she was just 14 times 1 equals 14. Now again, to check our work, the 2 totals must add up to 84. So I'm just going to check work. We're going to add 70 and 14 just to make sure. And it does check out. All right, this will be our little check. Smiley face. Oop, that looks sad. Smiley. Okay, so now we need complete sentences. So Darlene's dog weighs 70 pounds. And Leah's dog weighs 14 pounds. I do apologize for the work being on top of each other, but this is the only workspace that I have, and I can't extend the page in the video. So we would want neat, organized work, okay? 18, this is our final question. Use the distributive property to model the product on the grid, record the product. So we're trying to figure out what 4 times 12 is. Now that is a basic fact, I know, but they want you to use the distributive property, or you can use the area model, okay? Whatever you choose, okay? So I'm going to do both, the distributive property and the area model, okay? Okay, so 4 times 10 plus 4 times 2. And I get 40 plus 8 equals 48. That's 48. I can also use this as 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 4 times 10. Sorry, it's a little off. And this is 4 times 2. Okay, 4 times 10 plus 2. 4 times 10 is 40. 4 times 2 is 8. Then, of course, I have to add the two partial products, and I get still 48. I would like to thank you for joining me on the chapter review. Good luck on your test tomorrow.